Working men of all countries unite, so it says on the wall behind me here. Because today I have come to Chemnitz, the city that used to be the industrial hub for the old former German Democratic Republic. Upon the foundation of the German Democratic Republic, the leaders of this newly established country decided that Chemnitz must be rebuilt after the destruction of the Second World War to become the perfect model city of a communist working society. And to highlight their point, they went as far in 1953 to rename the city after the founder of communism himself, Karl Marx Stadt, or Karl Marx City in English, ordering the erection of this 7-meter tall bust of Karl Marx's face looking out upon the city itself. Russia drink. Very good. And that is exactly what we're here to do today, to explore what happens to a former model communist city when this very communist society collapses. How has Chemnitz coped with the industrial collapse that took place here in the city and in most of Eastern Germany as well, after the fall of the very communist society that held up all the structures here? And here we go, yet another sign of Chemnitz's communist past. This monument here of these three people standing in unity. It's called Würde, Schönheit und Stolz, des Menschen im Sozialismus. Something like worth, beauty and pride of the people in socialism. These three men and women standing here in unity, showing the beautiful collective work of this communist society. Karl Marx himself is sitting right over there. What's rather ironic that these two communist monuments nowadays sit right in front of this, a beautiful capitalist shopping center, representing everything that a guy like Karl Marx would have hated. Saturn up here, one of Germany's biggest electronics, home domestic appliances sort of chains, and Karl Marx sits right over there enjoying a beautiful view to Chemnitz main shopping center. Chemnitz 2025. That is because Chemnitz has been named European Capital of Culture for 2025. And I am feeling a little bit snacky. So let's see what we can find here. I see some sausages. That looks right up my street. I'm guessing this is the local specialty. Rauchwurst. If I'm not mistaken, that means smoking sausage. Yeah? Half pig, half cow. This is the... That is bratwurst, no? Yeah, and that one is more local specialty thing. Local. Yeah, it is local from here? From Chemnitz? From Germany. But from this region?
Local.
Local, okay. I try one of those. So half pork and half cow, smoked sausage. A little bit spicy. That sounds right up my street. Check it out. Are you from Chemnitz?
Yeah.
Okay.
Karl Marx Stadt.
Karl Marx Stadt. Do you like that they changed the name to Karl Marx Stadt? Or is it good that they changed it back?
Another year 100.
€4. Machst
Vier.
du das vor?
€4.
€4 and 15 cents.
There we go.
Like your ketchup or must?
Mustard. Let's go with that. So check this out. Little smoked sausage. That is hot. Wow. Oh my god, that is hot. But that is beautiful. That is very nice. That is better than the typical sausages here in Germany. The bratwurst. Check that. Check that church or whatever it is. I think it might be the city hall that we're on the backside of. You can kind of see it here over the tents up there. This beautiful old East German I don't know if it's been rebuilt after the war or if this was not bombed. That is just the snack that I need to fire us up to explore more of Chemnitz today. So we finished that sausage. That was beautiful. And now it's time to leave the center of the city. We're at this shopping center area with this tram station here. We can find our tram out to the outskirts of the city to explore what the real Chemnitz actually looks like and to see if we can find some commie blocks. And here we go. Commie block galore behind me here. Huge buildings, just one after the other. There's another one over here. There's another one over there. There's another one over there. It was built in 1978 to be housing, believe it or not, for the highest class, for entrepreneurs and wealthy people in the former GDR. Built in 1978. We have another block here, as you see, that just go on and on and on. This block over here seems to be in a slightly better nick. These buildings are called in German Plattenbau, basically plaque buildings, because the buildings are basically just massive slabs of concrete put together, already prefabricated houses. Cheap housing for the people, yet this was for the wealthy. Check out the state of this building. Like, it looks like it is not anymore a luxurious surrounding to be living in. Check out the massive long hallway here. Just a long, dark, dim, depressing hallway there. And check out this maze of a door telephone. Huge, huge amount. It's got to be 60, 70 apartments in this building here, just in one. And if those apartments that we saw before are actually empty, it wouldn't surprise me, because Chemnitz is one of the cities in the former GDR that has struggled the most. After reunification, the population has fallen 20% and has never made it back to the same population numbers as previously when the GDR was a thing. Check out the wonderful communist playground here. There's an eerie, silent feel to walking around in these streets. A brain drain is happening in Chemnitz. Young people with skills, with ambition in life, with good grades, find themselves moving out of the city to other parts of Germany. Sometimes they might only go to Leipzig, one of the, if not the best, most prosperous city of the former GDR, that is only an hour's train ride from here. And other times they find themselves having to leave all the way to Berlin or Frankfurt or Munich, leading to the fact that still Chemnitz is one of the poorest cities in all of Germany. I found what looks like a shopping center that looks like it hasn't changed a single thing about it since the Soviet Union times. Here we have Russian specialties, of course. Moscow. Hopefully I have water in here. Do you speak English? Nur Deutsch. Wasser?
Wasser.
Haben Sie? Ein bisschen kleiner?
Nur, Malztrunk, Kwas.
Kwas.
Ja.
What is this?
Kwas und das Malztrunk, aber nicht süß, normal, aber lecker. Zwischen Cola und, aber das Natur.
Alcohol?
Nee, ohne Alkohol. Kein Alkohol.
Okay, I try this. You from Russia?
Ja.
Ah, okay.
Kyrgyzstan, Asien.
Kyrgyzstan. Ah, and how did you end up here? Wo kommen Sie aus Alemania, aus Deutschland?
Aus Deutschland, nein. Wir kommen aus Kirgisistan, das ist
Sie,
Asien.
Sie.
Aber SSSR und
I.
Großrussland. Warum?
Warum? Ja, warum?
Meine Familie hier.
Meine Familie. Papa, Mama.
Ja,
Ah, in das DDR, Ostdeutschland.
genau.
They move here. Kirgisistan,
Genau.
DDR.
Genau.
Ah, okay. Für bessere
So,
Arbeit?
so. Hier.
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 Kirgisistan, not so much.
Nicht zu viel Arbeit.
Nicht zu viel
Stand
Arbeit.
Und klein.
Ja.
1,64 € und 25 Pfund, egal wo.
45. Und wie sind das Leben in Chemnitz heute?
Natürlich.
Gut?
Gut,
Gut leben.
sehr gut.
Sehr gut in Chemnitz.
Natürlich. Chemnitz am besten als Westen.
Como?
Dortmund und Köln, egal wo. Und Chemnitz am besten.
Chemnitz besser.
Genau.
Wie Dortmund oder Köln
Genau.
oder
Genau.
München oder
Berlin.
El.
Hier besser.
Ost
Ja,
besser.
genau.
Okay, danke.
Bitte schön, tschüss.
Cheers. All right, so there you go. A Russian or Kyrgyzstani woman from this little country in the middle of Asia all the way to the DDR. Her family came in search of better opportunities. That tells you just what you need to know about the living standards, even though we look at it from Western history. We get told this dire story of East Germany as this depressing place where people had no opportunities and lived basically just 40 years in imprisonment before the West finally came to save them. But as you see there, and as has been documented as well in many stories, actually people did have in Eastern Germany a relatively high living standard, one of the highest, if not the highest living standards of all of the Eastern communist bloc. That is just an example of it. Her family came here back in the days of the DDR, moving from what was Soviet Union back then, what is today Kyrgyzstan, to come to DDR and Chemnitz in search of better opportunities. Now, let's try this corn drink. I suppose it's from Russia then. I understand absolutely nothing of what it says. But let's give it a go. Oh, okay. That's kind of like a Weissbier sort of taste mixed with a lemonade, but no alcohol. It's non-alcoholic, this drink. It's kind of refreshing. Ah, I know it. It's actually more similar to the wheat beer, the ginger beers that they have here in Germany as well. That's what it tastes like. Russia drink. Very good. So with that tour of this commie block living area and a successful beverage hunt of an even more communist drink than I imagined I was going to find on this trip today, you might wonder, where did these people work? These high class, high society, East German DDR society, where did they work? What was their businesses? What was these business owners that could afford such an apartment as you see here? What sort of business did they run? Because you must remember, nobody owned the business back then. You could max be a business manager, director sort of position. The answer to that question is Chemnitz is known as basically Germany's Manchester, East Germany's Manchester. It has been a manufacturing hub for ages, even before East Germany was a thing. It was a manufacturing hub here. Factories, I don't know how well it comes across on this camera here, but across the city, we're on a sort of a hill on the outskirts of Chemnitz here, and across the city lies the factory area. And that is why the rich would settle into this area here, because you're up on the hill, the wind blows away from here towards the manufacturing area, meaning you have a cleaner, nicer air in this area than you would have in other areas in Chemnitz back in those days. Let's go and check out that area, the economic engine of the German Democratic Republic. This is exactly the sort of stuff that the managers that lived in that commie block housing area that we were in before would have been managing. Factories like this, huge, old, majestic factories, now stands in the middle of Chemnitz, abandoned still since 1990, since the fall of the German Democratic Republic, the DDR, the communist East Germany. You can see it here, smashed windows, etc. Looks like once upon a time you might have been able to make your way in there. You have some smaller factories, or they actually are quite big, but as you can see there's basically no one parked there. It is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so they shouldn't all have gone home. But it seems like even a factory like that doesn't have much going on for it. And we have a few other factories here. This one is still in business. It looks like they're making lamps. I see a few lighting elements over there. In this one, a very Soviet looking, very communist looking factory as well. But you get the idea. Here's another abandoned entrance to a factory right there. So you get the idea here of how life would have been here in Chemnitz, or Karl Marx Stadt as it was called. People would be all working in these factories. This one looks to be making lighting and home appliances. This one would have maybe made furniture. Every single business, every single factory made something that the central government of the Socialist Union Party of Eastern Germany would demand them to do. On command from the government, they would produce what the government said was needed. You can hear them working up there. So even though there's graffiti on the entrances and it looks rather badly maintained, it still is in business. Here we have what seems to be the old main entrance to this factory. See up there the flagpoles, typical communist style again. You would have the GDR flag up there, most likely. Maybe the Chemnitz or Karl Marx Stadt flag. Check this out. It is quite a beautiful entrance that they have there. But nothing really seems to be in business nowadays here. You're from here?
English, keine.
Keine.
Deutsch, Russisch,
Russisch?
Ukrainisch.
Ukraine. But you're born?
Nee.
Kommt sie aus Chemnitz?
Nee, andere Land.
Anderen Land?
Ja.
Ah, welch?
Kasachstan.
Kasachstan. Ah,
Ja, ich bin später Ausländer.
später Ausland.
Ja.
Familie, Kasachstan?
Ja. Alle. Mama, Papa, Bruder, alle.
In DDR? Oder?
Nee,
Oder?
2002.
Ah, okay. Und warum Chemnitz?
Mein Opa gewählt dieses Land. Friedland,
Friedland?
erste Lager.
Aha.
Und dann Opa gewählt hier nach Chemnitz.
Okay, move here to
Ja.
Chemnitz. Okay.
Genau.
So your grandfather came
Ja,
here.
großer Vater.
Großer Vater.
Ja.
Okay. How is life in Chemnitz?
Ja, mir gefällt. Da, ja.
Ja?
Super.
Ist gut? Ist
Mir alles gut. Ist
Okay.
perfekt.
Viele Leute sagt Chemnitz una
Scheiße?
Scheiße oder
Nee.
viele Rassisten oder so?
Nee.
Gerne
In Bayern mehr Rassismus,
Aha.
mehr dort muss zahlen, aber hier die lernen kostenlos, Staat bezahlt alles und Hier ist Leben billiger.
Okay. Danke. Danke. Cheers.
Schönen Tag noch. Tschüss.
Schönen Tag. Look what I just spotted here. This is the Bundesarchive, the Stasi Unterlagenarchive. So this is the archive from the Stasi, the secret police of Germany, or of East Germany, that would have been using. I guess that's why you have this green building here, this green color, because it kind of resembles the uniform that these people would have been wearing back in those days. But as you can see, there again, another person whose family came here from Kazakhstan back in the day. So there's a lot of history of people coming from the old Eastern Bloc, the old communist bloc, the old Soviet Union countries, to live here in East Germany, in Chemnitz, as she's saying. The state pays for your education here, the state helps you here still, is what I understood that she was saying. But wow, we stumbled upon the Stasi archive of Chemnitz. This is where the secret police that they had here in East Germany, where people couldn't trust anybody. They literally infiltrated officially about 90,000 people. 89, 88, 90,000 people were working for the Stasi by the fall of the Eastern German state, by the fall of the GDR. But unofficially, it was more like hundreds of thousands. You literally couldn't trust your brother, your uncle, if you said anything negative about the state. Those who did was in big trouble and were cleaned out. But those who didn't could live a simple life where everybody is equal. As I'm walking back towards the city center, I'm going through this tunnel here with these murals. Again, painting a picture of how they used to lift beautiful communist propaganda, how they used to live in teams, how they used to live in unity, lift up the bridge upon which the train goes. Something like fighting pays off. I think that is what this means with my broken German. The train has been built with all these beautiful hands over here, and now they have turned to what looks to me like old people. It's basically a history of Chemnitz right there. The hands up there lifting in unity. Fighting pays off in the long end, and here the old people of today enjoying the fruits of their hard labor when they were kids or young men, building this very bridge that we see here. Here you have yet another apartment building that is completely obliterated. It looks like we've got wooden plaques for windows. We've got an old, looks like it was a little shop that was here that has been abandoned as well. Speaking to what I was alluding to earlier, a little brain drain that's going on. What do we have here? Then here you can literally come and buy cigarettes in a vending machine. So you just press this one and then you put your card and out comes a pack of ciggies. So there's still some kind of shop here. You can't get cheese, you can't get milk, you can't get meat, but at least you can get cigs. Here's the entrance to the store. And this is the unfortunate state that Chemnitz seems to find itself in today. Lots and lots of abandoned buildings just standing around on street corners like here. Another abandoned shop here. Because young people still to this day have to leave to find opportunity. Not much business here, not many jobs here. And from these murals, propaganda in the little tunnel there under the train bridge suggests that people seem to still live reminiscing of the time that once was. Here's another abandoned shop. But this explains to you why parties that at least oppose the idea of the classic traditional parties here in Germany that has neglected from the viewpoint of the Eastern Germans the existence of Eastern Germany since unification. Why are they so popular here? Well, abandoned buildings like this explains to you why. There's another cigarette vending machine. Or that is not to say that they necessarily want communism to come back, but it seems to be a feeling of people want politicians that take them serious and that have the best interest of this place in heart, because they feel like the current day politicians of Germany do not. As you can see, it really seems to only be here in the center of the city that there's life. Everywhere where we've been in the outskirts of the city so far, the streets have been pretty much dead. But here at least you have shopping centers, stores, business going on, capitalist businesses, the complete opposite of what a guy like Karl Marx would have wanted this to look like, I'm sure. One would say that this city center experience here, where people are out sitting in cafes, in restaurants, spending money, doing business, is the very proof of why capitalism is the best system out there, rather than a communist state where there is no top, there's no bottom. People just sort of exist as robots in a system organized by people, high people on the top that enjoy the fruits of their people's labor. They direct the people, they suppress the people from moving upwards in life, from having prosperity. They just provide a very basic middle state, and at some point, like it happened with the DDR, the people will revolt against such a state because it doesn't provide purpose, it doesn't provide anything to go for in life, it doesn't provide any vision, any mission. You can just, as I say, be this cog in a massive wheel where you must fulfill your role such that greedy politicians can enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's communism for you right there.